Capricorn, hi, come on in. Great to see you, just in time. I'm going to do your Capricorn 2020 yearly reading and forecast. Do you know, I've just been doing some spiritual work, and I got, well, magic, I suppose, and I've got the lights down. I want to keep them down because I'm kind of in the zone. But what I will do is I'll bring a lamp across, shine it down on the cards, so you can have a really good look at this beautiful artwork on the cards while I do the reading for you. Now, those of you who know me know that when I read tarot, I use a lot of esoteric astrology, I use numerology, I use mysticism, and a number of other things, as well as the tarot cards to base them on naturally. Let's get this underway, Capricorn, and see what's going on. Let's get there's the energy through there now. That's the business. That's the way. Let's see what we have. Did I tell you I'm going to do one card for each month? Well, I am. Well, what's that one? Whatever that happens to be. That was left behind. There's the Knight of Discs for... Gee, what a really good card for you to start the year off. The Knight of Discs. What is this? February. The Nine of Wands. Shall we have this one, whatever that may be? There is Justice. There is Temperance. Gee, why don't you pull out another major arcana? Well, there's the Ten of Discs. It's not major arcana, but it's a fantastic card, I think. I'm getting the energy up from it at the moment, so it's really good for money. And do you like money? Well, useful, isn't it? People who say that money can't buy you happiness are obviously shopping in the wrong store, I think. Now, there's the Moon card. Now, that's poking out. So it says, take me. And it's the Eight of Swords. What a charming scene it is as well. Very interesting. The artwork, as I say, is just exquisite on these things. Look, there's the Three of Cups. It's obviously, there's the Ace of Wands. Let's see what this might be. The Star card. That's a really great card to have. There's the High Priestess. Finally, she makes an appearance, the High Priestess. And there's the Two of Wands. Okay, as I said, come down and sit down next to me. I'll bring this lamp over. We can together sit down and look at the beautiful artwork on these cards while I do your reading for you. All right, for the wildly attractive and talented Capricorn, January through to June and July through to December. Let's have a look at this first card here, which is in January. And gee, I'm getting great energy from this card for you. Who is this? The Knight of Discs. The first thing that I'll say is that court cards can, of course, apply to the opposite agenda to that which they are depicted as, because what is important is the energy that comes up from underneath it. But in any event, esoterically, knights are represented by air, and discs are in the suit of earth. And in elemental dignity rules, they are enemies and weaken each other. Because you know, when you have air, such as a typhoon or a hurricane or a cyclone or a windstorm, then you can have great damage caused to the land. I call this card the Prince of the Chariot of Earth. Now, might it be somebody in your life? It could be. And, of course, being in the suit of Earth, it may well be an Earth sign, but if it is, I think it's likely to be a Taurus. And the other thing that I'll say is that, quite counterintuitively, I also see that it could well be an Aries person. Well, what might we say about the character of such a person? Well, somebody who is energetic, a capable manager and steadfast worker. Perhaps a bit dull, you might think. They're skeptical of spirituality, slow to anger, but look out if he's been enraged. Now, this character has great energy to bring to bear on the most solid of practical matters. He really is energetic and enduring. He is competent and ingenious, thoughtful, cautious, trustworthy, basically indefatigable, I'd say, and somebody who can really turn circumstances and adapt to them, and turn them to his advantage with a slow, steady, well-thought-out plan. But interestingly, though, I think that this is someone who you might consider as somebody who could well be lacking in emotion, and someone who makes no effort to understand ideas which are new or which conflict with his own view of the world. I think he's inclined to be resentful of the more spiritual types. He's slow to anger, but watch out if he becomes enraged. Now, what can we say about him? I think, what are the messages that he is bringing up for you? Well, I think this is a period in your life, in this January, when you are taking responsibility for your life and becoming focused. I think you might actually be quite good at sport. You might take an interest in sporting activities, which can include gardening or walking, as well as the more yoga or Pilates, as well as the more traditional team-oriented sports. I think that it's interesting, but I think that you could have an interest in designing and constructing things. Now, this doesn't just mean building or carpentry, but it can also extend to the design and construction, if you like, using color and form and material. So I see that you might well be interested in sprucing up your surroundings. Now, that could include a garden if you have one. It can also extend to fashion and hair, beauty, makeup, because those things are all about the design and construction of something. Well, you are constructing an image to present to the world. It can also extend, I think, very much so to the question of recipes and of cooking and developing things in the kitchen for eating. I really see you putting a lot of effort into practical things at this time. This is a time in your life when you are going to be goal-oriented and you want to sort out the material side of your life. You know, there's things like health and career, those things which are actually tangible and practical to you. I'd have this thought in mind, and it is, I am finding the work that fulfills and satisfies me. Yeah, what a fantastic way to start the year off in January. And then we get to February. And what do we have here? Well, we have the Knight of Wands. Now, you know before how I said that the Knight of Discs was, the knights were characterized by being air. Well, again here we have air. We have a knight who is air, and in wands, he's in the suit of fire. And what do you get when you put fire and air together? Well, you have a dynamic energy which is very strong. I call this card the Prince of the Chariot of Fire. Now, who well might be important to you during this period? I'm thinking Leo. I'm also getting Cancer. Yes, a very strong Leo card here, I think. I think this is signifying a young man, although my previous thoughts are that, the court cards can reflect either gender. Someone that's styled as a knight may well refer to a woman. It's just that they're depicted as such. What's important is the energy. So this is a young person, I think, who is swift and strong, quite impulsive, impulsive, I have to say, violent, just, noble, generous, and with a sense of, with a real sense of humour, I think. With the heart of a lion, and I refer to him using the masculine pronoun, he stands for honesty and integrity and what he believes to be for the common good. There is a very strong sense of morality to this character, and so I think that is going to be moving into you during this period. I think what also is the case is that this represents a turning point for you. Now, it may well be that you don't consider that things have been going all that well for you up to this time. Well, this energy is saying that that time is now changing. This is a turning point. Things are going to start going better. But you have to use his energy and enthusiasm and drive to move forward to better things, and now is the right time to do it. You must wear the same confidence that he has. He's reminding you to re-engage in life and tackle any challenges that come your way. Have a lustful life. He's really a person who's very courageous and loyal. Yeah, very much that turning point issue is what I'm getting here. I had this thought in mind that I love life and life loves me. Spread your arms wide and breathe deeply into your heart. I think he can sometimes be a bit slow to make up his mind on any subject, and he always explores both sides of every question. He's essentially just, but always feels that justice really isn't to be obtained in the intellectual world. Very practical. He's romantic. He can be a practical joker. Great capacity for hard work. And he always wins in the long run. Sometimes it feels that he is fighting against the odds, but his courage is fanatically strong, and he is going to overcome difficulty. And this is very much the message that's being given to you. You will be overcoming difficulties, that there is going to be this change in this turning point in your life, and that things are going to start turning out for the better. And isn't that good news? We all love that. Gee, I wish I could get that card. Problem is, I can't read for myself. I'm too emotionally involved in what the outcome is, you see, so it's difficult. Here we have the Major Arcana card, number 8. Well, first of all, I'll say this, that I love the number 8 because it stands for power, balance, harmony. And in this card here, we have justice. Now, the depiction of the card here reminds me of the ancient Egyptian religion, where the goddess Ma'at would greet the soul of the deceased person after death and would weigh it on a balance. One side of the balance would hold the feather. So I'm getting very much a strong feeling of Libra associated with this card. Yes, I see Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted in the card. Well, what would happen, of course, is that the deceased person's heart would be placed on the scales, and if the heart, which was considered to be the actual real person in the ancient Egyptian religion and culture, if the heart balanced with that of the feather on the scales, then the person was admitted into the afterlife along with the god Osiris and to live after. But if it did not, if the heart was weighed down by the deeds and iniquities of the life that it had led, if it weighed down the feather and they were not in balance, then the soul, the heart, would be devoured by a creature that was a third crocodile, a third hippopotamus, and a third lion, and the person would simply be extinguished from reality. No afterlife, no being tortured in a hell or anything like that, just completely gone. So I'm seeing Libra, Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted. Well, Libra emphasizes that the energy of this card is all about balance and equilibrium, and I'm getting a great sense of karmic cause and effect, bringing situations into balance. There's a real karma card energy coming up here. You know, you really do give and have given a lot of yourself to other people. You have been of great service to other people. You have overextended yourself, many times to your own detriment. Well, those receipts have all been kept, and they are now being returned and cashed in. So I think that this is a time where that karmic reward is coming to you. In fact, I see it elsewhere here as well in this card, which is coming a bit later down the track. I think what we have here is we have really justice, balance, adjustment. I think adjusting yourself in a certain way. Sort of a suspension of action pending a decision that you might be going to make. A great deal of objectivity and standing back. Now, sometimes this can mean bringing your finances into balance, and isn't that a good time after the holiday period when all the credit card statements come in? And it can sometimes relate to getting the feeling of legal things around here, contracts, lawsuits, marriages even is what I'm getting. Yeah, very much so. I think that I'm just having this thought that's coming through in relation to this card, and it is this, that even if I wander from you, you are there. Your pleasure ever leads me into the depths of you. Your chastening hand is the caress of reclaiming me. I walk through the alley of hell in the byways of my deeds, and the stifling heat is the clasp of your embrace, of the holding me tight unto you. Yeah, I think this is talking about taking a stock of your life to see what is useful and what should be let go. You will be thinking clearly about life ahead, and be aware that all actions have consequences. And they're very much that karmic sort of reward here. I think you'll be getting a clear vision of possibilities and choices which are ahead of you, and applying your insights as a result of your experience and wisdom that you have gained so far to enable you to bring about balance in your life. I think this can also represent a time where you cut through all the dross in your life. There is, I feel here, a strong feeling of leadership around you. It's leadership around you. Yeah. I think you'll be taking leadership on something, and I think that people will be looking at you and saying, yes, you are a good leader. It's a good time, I think, for you to write. Just getting that feeling, maybe a journal, maybe blogging, perhaps starting a diet or a gym program, exercise regime. And we had that before, didn't we, where I think you'll be increasing the activity that was seeded in you at this time, and by and large, I think probably also about balancing the credit card statements again. I mean, I know that sounds awfully dreary, but it really has things to do. Yeah. Here we come to Temperance. You've got another major arcana card here. Temperance. Now, this is an interesting depiction of this card, Temperance, is it not? Well, here we have a tiger in the water. Now, tigers can actually swim. Did you know that? Well, for my own part, I hope that tiger has been fed, because I do not want to end up on its dinner menu for this evening. I think that what we can see here is, again, lots of decisions following on from that time that was coming before you. Decisions. I think that's what's going to be happening to you also, is that I get a lot of Sagittarius around you. I get a lot of Sagittarius energy. It's a time where Sagittarians are going to be important to you. I think that this is, well, I call this tiger, and I refer to her as a she, the daughter of the reconcilers, the bringer forth of life. I think that really what we have here is that there's a combination of forces that are out there in your life, where you're pulling this together with that and that with that and that with that to bring integrating things together to make things happen. Realization, action based on some accurate assessment that you've made of situations, good management, I think, of the matters that are going on in your life. And I think that what could also be the case is that there's some degree of success after what may be considered by you to be quite elaborate sort of dealings in the past, and you've overcome them. You brought things together, you found a solution, and things have worked out for you. I also get the feeling of escape, where you kind of get out of having to do something. Well, it's always good to be able to get out of doing something with it. Look, I have Jupiter as the ruling planet here, and Jupiter brings good luck, good fortune, great expansion. Just have this thought: I am uplifted in your heart. My every instinct has become the echo of your heartbeat. My life dances to the rhythm of your pulse. Yeah, I think that what we'll see here is that there is... Look, I have these thoughts in... Look, you're learning to bring about balance and moderation in your life. And be patient. Let things evolve at their natural pace. Do some self-evaluation and re-examine your life's priorities. And work in harmony from a place of stability and strength that's within you. And I think that you will have that stability and strength that's within you. Close your eyes and visualize a fountain of energy in your body, and bathe the while in this rejuvenating current. I'd have these thoughts in mind, and they are: I equally value the light and dark within my own nature. I am a very well integrated person. I surrender to the transforming power of the divine. I am an open channel for creative energy. Now here we have this 10 of discs. Now, the 10 of discs, well, you can see it's here, it's a suit of earth and it's a 10. I just want to get closer on that card so you can try and make out some of the artwork on it. The Lord of Wealth, I call this card. What a welcome appearance. It's Mercury, ruling the third decan of Virgo, 13th to the 22nd of September. Now, in ordinary astrology, Mercury rules and is also exalted in Virgo, so that's very favorable. Mercury is about communication skills, and Virgo is about good organizational ability. So there is success and abundance with this card. The feelings that are coming through to me are richness. Now, incidentally, these discs, a lot of people think, oh, it's just money. Well, it's not, actually. It's your greater standard of living, all those things which go into your life, and those things which you love in your life. They include relationships, money, of course, but how you feel about things, what your environment's like, work, friends, all these things, going to the movies, different things. There is a richness and an abundance, a kind of a feeling of prosperity and wealth in here. Interestingly, at this time, I'd say that there could be a chance of an inheritance, possibly even, well, I never encourage gambling, but there's a possibility of a lottery win. Certainly a supportive and tight-knit family, and for those involved in a family business, it augurs extremely well, I have to say. So I think that this can also sometimes mean someone who has accumulated riches but nothing else. That is, or can have accumulated wealth but nothing else, like really deep friendships, emotional bonds, good spiritual life. And I'd have this thought in mind, and it is, I am internally and externally rich and free and enjoy everything, thankfully and in surrender. Maybe on a piece of paper, write down all the qualities which constitute your inner riches. And you will see, actually, how abundant your life really is. Well, here we have the moon. The moon in June, Major Arcana, number 18, the moon. Well, this is an interesting depiction of the moon, is it not? The moon is normally depicted as being feminine. I certainly see the moon as a feminine energy, by and large. In this spread here, I also do still have the feeling of a feminine energy around it. In fact, what I really see in here is, and I'm just looking to see what the astrology of it might be. It's up along that line and above this Two of Wands, which is December. I would say that the astrology is Neptune in Pisces with Venus exalted. Neptune in Pisces. Well, Pisces is very much associated with the subconscious, with emotions, with intuition and artistry. And this is the last of the major arcana for me to be associated with a zodiac sign. Neptune in Pisces. Well, Neptune's watery depths are associated with dreams, visions, and the imagination, which links it in really well with the qualities of the moon, I think. I think that what we really have here is that this is suggesting for you, and it's interesting, got the High Priestess down here, but up here, I think what this is suggesting in this position is that this is a time when something in your life is not as it appears to be, a situation that is deceiving. You may feel as if you are kind of, it's deceiving, that mental uncertainty, almost like when you're in the outskirts of a city and it's night and you're lost and there are no signposts anywhere and there's no one around and you don't know which way to go. That type of feeling is what I get. This can often represent the shadow self, the subconscious or hidden self. And it may be that Gee, Capricorn, is this right for you in June? I'm getting this feeling, though. Look, I'm going to say it because you're not a baby, but you may be harboring negativity that you have suppressed, or you may not even be aware of it. It may be something that you have suppressed or repressed, and it could have been due to a former relationship, could have been due to prior events, it could be due to something which occurred in childhood. And these things are being repressed and they're impacting on your current situation. You know, when these things happen, what often happens is that we can, if you can imagine a ship, back then in those times in the past, we can drop an anchor and our ship doesn't move forward because we are anchored back in that spot. The trick, of course, is to hoist the anchor up and allow the ship to move on. And the really only good way to do that, and I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but it's actually to forgive people. It's to accept and forgive and to understand that there's a lot of people out there who are idiots and they do things to people and to children, often without knowing what it is that they're doing. Sometimes because there are some people in life who see it as their role in life to just cause pain and aggravation for other people. But, you know, you need to forgive them. Because forgiveness releases you, not the person who is forgiven. It's no accident that all the great spiritual works from all around the world, in all traditions, they all focus in on that great necessity to do that. Now, not only is there great spiritual benefit to be obtained by that, because we are accountable for the life we live here on earth, but there is great psychological, there is great emotional, there is great physical freedom to be obtained by forgiveness. The weight is lifted from your shoulders. Now, there's no need to talk to the people involved. There's no need to have anything to do with them. In fact, it's best not to, I think, very often. But you are the person who is forgiven when you forgive. And this isn't something that can happen overnight. Sometimes it can take months to do it. But if you go through that exercise, you will find that you will be better off for it. Claim me, O wife, let thy veils open and thy veiling mists part to admit me to thy mystery, to the unexplored wilds of thy being. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at July. And you know, this card in July is sort of reinforcing the message as to what can happen if you don't let go of that negative energy which frankly the divinity has pointed out, which the spirit has pointed out to you. Because here we have the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords, the Lord of Shortened Force. Now, it is Jupiter ruling the first decan of Gemini, I think, the 21st to the 31st of May. Now, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and in order to get to Gemini, and when the YouTube astrologers do their horoscope wheels, you know, you see all the signs around the wheel. Well, imagine that you've got, let me pull this out a bit so it doesn't go in and out of focus and drive me crazy. But you might have Jupiter, for example, up here in Sagittarius, and you have Gemini down here on the opposite side of the zodiac wheel. Well, in order for Jupiter to get over into Gemini, it has to travel 180 degrees away to the other side of the zodiac. And so Jupiter is in detriment. And Jupiter, therefore, is weakened. And the inquisitive nature of Gemini, I think, just serves to inhibit Jupiter. So a weakened Jupiter means that you might feel that you can't get what you want because you've got too many distractions going on in your life, which may or may not be self-created. So you've got a lot of distractions going on, which is basically stopping you from going forward. You might have worry from thinking too much, difficulty in making choices, perhaps a bit of a problem with your sense of strength. I mean, sometimes I get the feeling that there's an energy in here which is sort of saying to you that you're quitting before you start because you feel as if there's something that you're going to do that you can't get it done, and it's almost as if you feel like you're a grown-up, so I'm telling you this, but it's like a sort of a self-sabotage. The benefit of having this reading like this and my pointing out these energies for you is that these are not a sentence. Rather, what it's saying to you is that when you have these feelings, you are prepared for them. You know that it's likely that this is going to happen. And so you can detach. You can detach yourself from the emotions or the thoughts in particular, because this is swords, the suit of thought, the suit which is to do with the mind, with thoughts. You'll be able to say, oh, hang on, I know what that is there. So it's possible that in an overall situation you might be having a hard time about what's the best option for you to take at the moment. Now, look, I'll say this, though, that nothing here is overly dramatic. And the reason why I say that is, remember how I said that earth and air were in conflict and they weaken each other? Well, here's this Knight of Discs, which is a court card, which is sitting right on top of this Eight of Swords. And so this is acting, earth and air, they weaken each other. This energy is being weakened by that earth card. This air energy is being weakened by that earth card, which is sitting above it. Nonetheless, it's possible, I think, that, look, you could have what you have probably heard of as being analysis paralysis, with your energy scattered on kind of endless, unproductive thoughts. Well, the solution, I think, is for you to detach, as I said, to take time out and to do something different. And as I say, Jupiter is coming into the card, and let Jupiter do its work and let things settle, and you can come back with new eyes. Yeah, I really think that's what's going on here. There's a desire, I think, not to get into a fixed mental process as well. The Eight, of course, for me, is also associated with the planet Mercury. And we have Mercury in the numerology. And I think that that's a very mental card. It's very intellectual, so very busy thoughts, probably scattering thoughts, and just having mentally a bit of a hard time about things, but it'll be sorted out because you now know what to do, and you will be, because this is a very successful year for you. I can see it all over it. Most interesting set of cards. Well, here we have the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is, well, first of all, numerologically, I love the three, because the three is, although it's governed in a way by, well, esoterically for me, mystically, I have the planet Saturn associated with it. It's actually Saturn in a very high form, in a very productive form. And the three, numerologically, for me also relates to, well, what I'd call gestation, like a mother who can be impregnated and then gestate and grow the child within her. It's about extension. It's about development. It's about moving things forward. The astrology of the card itself, for me, is Mercury in the second decan of Cancer, the 2nd to the 11th of July. Now, I call this card the Lord of Abundance. Mercury in Cancer. Well, Cancer is the most maternal of the signs and well placed, I think, in this number 3, for the reasons that I discussed, because that's about maternity as well, I think. really well placed with the number 3. And Cancer people can communicate with feeling, conveying a sensitive, withdrawn, thoughtful, gentle, and intuitive nature, I think. Mercury is about will and communications into Cancer, which is nurturing. So you'll be able to express your feelings fully with people that you are close to and who enrich your life. I also see here, interestingly, gatherings of large gatherings of people here. So I don't know, there could be big family events and possibly weddings, things going on there. Look, I'm even getting the idea of birth around here, and I suppose that's coming from this number 3. Look at how these things come down. These 3 streams, they fall from the source onto the earth below. A little bit like the divine energy, isn't it? And it nourishes this tree in silhouette here, which grows. Well, some of the branches are spindly, some are new and flexible, others are older, and some are twisted, and some go this way and some go that way. But there's one way that they all go, and that is up. They all grow up, back towards the source. And I see the birth of an idea, a goal, or you may hear the birth of a child here. I think you'll be sharing success with other people during this time, and life is going to feel really good for you. I think you'll have worked through some of these things that maybe have been weighing on your mind. I think you'll have worked through those by this time. This is a good time for you to tell people that you love them, and it's certainly a good time to boost the morale of other people. I can't tell you the karmic reward that is to be gained by telling people that you boosting their morale. I mean, you might see a woman in the mall, for example, and go up to her, not in a weird way, but say to her, "Gee, I love those colours on you. That looks great. You look really good," and then just move on. That person will feel on top of the world. That person will feel on top of the world. Or you can think of some other thing, way that you can compliment somebody, expecting nothing in return, and just move on. The karmic reward cannot be overstated. It is repaid 1,000 times over. I think that this is saying for you to enjoy your riches at the moment, but be aware of their limitations and see them for what they are. And I think that there is going to be an outpouring of love, or there should be, because Mercury is in here, and Mercury is telling you that there are 3 special people in your life that you should tell that you love them. You should, and you must. Yeah. Do you know there's a spiritual energy associated with this card for me. You might call it an angel or a center of consciousness. And for me, that angel's name is Iahel. It's one of the 72 names of God. I won't tell you how they came to be derived, those 72 names, other than to say that in the Hebrew text, because it's all about how the letters are set out in the Hebrew text of a book of the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible called the Book of Exodus. It's chapter 14, verses 19 to 21. That's how from where those names were derived. The angel's name is Iahel, and that name substitutes for the word of Lord in another book of the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible called the Book of Psalms, and I'm pretty sure it's Psalm 121 verse 5 that says, "The Lord is your guardian, the Lord is your protection at your right hand." Now, meditating on this name of Iahel and on this verse, Psalm 121 verse 5, it will bring you to become the high priestess or high priest in the temple of your own being. Your soul will be imbued with divine energy, and evil people will be banished from your presence. Yeah, so you've got friends in high places. What have we got here? This is a pretty startling sort of card, is it not? The Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands, well, the first thing that I'll say is that aces really are the seed of the suit. They're all about potential. They're really about what can happen. It requires you to take hold, to seize the opportunity which is being provided to you by this energy, and to make it happen. It's almost like for those of you who are familiar with, even in a rudimentary way, with quantum mechanics, it's the wave of possibility, of quantum possibility, which by observation, by grasping it, crystallizes it. I call this card the Lord of the Root of the Power of Fire. Now, people of interest to you in this period are going to be Cancer, Virgo, Leo. This is really saying that you will now have a creative spark. There's a new project there's a new start coming. There may well be, I think, a passionate union coming here. Your vital life forces are going to be surging ahead. It represents a time in your life when you have a breakthrough moment of insight and feel inspired and motivated to move your life forward. A big opportunity, I think, is going to be opening up for you. You have the possibility, the aces are potential, of tapping into a latent potential that you may not even know that you have. It's a perfect time to draw upon your imagination and make your dreams happen. Now, it's also probably spiritually, I think, the time to rewrite your life. And I think there'll be something of a deep spiritual desire for self-discovery. You know, if you look outside yourself, you are only dreaming. If you look inside yourself, that's where reality exists. Here is this card, the Star card. I love the Star. What does she look like? I don't think I've seen this before. The Star. Well, let me think. Is there anything bad I can say about the Star? Short answer is nothing whatsoever. The Star is just the perfect card for you to have at this time in October. For me, it is Saturn ruling Aquarius with Neptune exalted, the daughter of the firmament, I call her. Saturn in Aquarius. Well, Saturn is all about the individual and uniqueness, and yet it has an overall humanitarian outlook, I think, doesn't it? Well, the Star shares these qualities in that it is trying to remind you about the divinity and uniqueness which is within you, while encouraging you to be a conduit for bringing down your highest potential. This is really a great sign of hope, of happiness, of opportunities, optimism, cosmic blessings, helping others and tranquility. You will have self-confidence and self-esteem. Because this is saying that if you do have problems with your self-esteem, and sometimes, I think that, that little bit of self-doubt that you have is, it really is uncharacteristic of you, and it shouldn't be there. And this is saying that, look, it should not be there because I have your back. It should not be there. And those issues are to be disposed of. They're to go away with. I think that this is about being fulfilled and inspired by life. A reminder for you to follow your dreams, which give you the most inspiration, being open to love, and trust creation and what it brings. I think encouragement is now being given to you that even though you have had testing times, and look, the sad reality is that the whole of life here on earth is about testing. You know, look, Father, please take this cup away from me, but your will, not my will. It's about testing life on earth. This is saying that that those things are in the past, and now is the time to move forward with renewed hope and live an inspired life that you can express yourself fully. I'm just having this thought that in the silence of thy night, thou art beautiful, my silver one. Dancing, oh my golden one, ablaze and forth pouring the unending river of the stars. Let me die in thy stream of the many, of the none. Yeah. I'd have this thought in mind. I am a radiant light being. I am a star that walks upon a bigger star. I see what can be of benefit to people in the future. Major Arcana all over your spread. Very, very good year for you. Let's have a look at this card. What's this one? It's the High Priestess. Now, where are you sitting, High Priestess? You're sitting on this side of the Two of Wands, and you have come just behind the star, and you're sitting underneath that Ten of Discs. So, what am I getting from you? Well, maybe for obvious reasons, I'm getting the moon around here, very much in association with the moon, the priestess of the silver star. The moon represents cycles going with the flow of life, and this is really about discovering your own truth and getting some emotional stability, I think. Guard against information which is being withheld. This thing also was talking about information here, I think. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm just prompted to say that there may be some secrets. You may uncover something here. This is guarding against information which is being withheld from you. Guard against being lied to. Make sure you trust your intuition. You know, we apprehend consciousness two ways, through our mind and through our heart. And the fact of the matter is that our heart is able to see, to appreciate, to understand, and make use of information that our mind cannot sometimes even grasp or even see. And your intuition will always, your heart will always lead you to the truth. And this is about you following your heart here. Yet your skin is cool and pale in the moonlight. Not even night can cool the embrace of your arms around me, nor darken the glistening silver-white substance of our love. I close my eyes, and it shields them not. Rather, you grow brighter still. Your eyes lock on mine, unblinking and uneclipsed. O mother, O lover, O child. Yeah. I don't know where those come from, but there they are. Yeah, very much about following intuition during this period, I think, here. I think it can also represent that you establish some sort of a platonic relationship. I'm getting balance, intuition, insight, independence and self-knowledge. I think you'll be unwilling to limit or restrict yourself or other people. You could be beginning actually quite a new cycle here, and a new life cycle. You might be asserting your independence. You will have increasing self-esteem. There you go. You will have this increasing self-esteem. That's what's coming through. And look, and be aware that your intuition is a gift. It's a time for discovering the oasis within. Changes, are necessary on the inside to make changes on the outside. And I think that there's a need to be confident with and connect with your intuitive feminine side. Look, and that applies to the males as well as the females. Look, we all have aspects of the other gender within us. Females have male qualities in them. It's just that the womanly qualities are predominant. Males have female qualities in them. It's just that the manly qualities predominate. And that's this is saying to make sure that you are in touch with that part of your life. Say to yourself, I deeply honor and value the human being that I am. I am intuitive and perceptive. I trust myself and honor my sense of integrity. Yep. And then in December, here we go. What do we have? We have this card, the Two of Wands, and look, I'm getting, even though this picture seems like it's drawing me in, what I'm getting is a real sense of dynamic energy around you here in this period of December. Why is that? Because I'm seeing Mars in the first decan of Aries. The 21st to the 30th of March. Now, that's actually that's really good when as we think about it, because in ordinary astrology, Mars governs Aries and it is in its own sign. So I think I call the card the Lord of Dominion, and this is about almost like a warlike energy, the dynamic pioneer, mastering situations. I have to say, I could kind of get the feeling of you dominating another person here, or a situation, or maybe not being completely satisfied with what you've got and wanting to do something about it, and really focusing your intent on making things move forward, which is actually the perfect energy, isn't it, to have in December, about to carry you into the new year. I think that that you are going to become overcome by boldness and courage and fierceness and shamelessness even. I think that you will be generous and proud, but Jesus, you Capricorn, I'm getting this feeling coming up of a certain amount of revenge and resolution coming up from you. Maybe this suggests that your will is beginning to rebel against its predisposed boundaries, come hell or high water. I think you'll be using your willpower to break through stagnant situations and remove any long-standing blocks. This is a time for you to act. Act on instinct. Use that intuition which you've got and what you believe to be right without overthinking the situation. You are going to have dynamic leadership, ability, and energy. That energy is really building up here, and that's going to carry you into your next year. have this affirmation in mind, and it is, I find the strength I need now in my center. And that's for December, coming into the new year. I think this might be your best year ever. That's the way it is for you. Well, there you go. That's it. Your 2020 annual reading done. I tell you what, I think that this is going to be your best year ever. I really do have that feeling about it. I've got to say that the vibe that's come out of that reading of yours is very, very positive, and you should be looking forward to this year. By the way, I just want to say also that you've been fabulous. You've been great, and in fact, you've been brilliant, and you've played your part of this exercise to perfection. And I thank you for that. Look, really, all that remains for me to say is this: that you are a legend, and I hope I see you in my monthly readings. Subscribe if you want, but check out the videos anyway. Until then, bye for now.